Here, we have several new faces that are in the room, so if this is your first meeting, raise your hand and, oh wow, look at this, this is great. We'll go to my right, we'll start here. Stand-up introduction, your name and call sign, and maybe how you found us.
Kermit Witherby, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Bravo Tango Victor. I found you guys online a few months ago, and that was about it. But then I ended up being involved in the expo that was held in Elbert County Fairgrounds this last Saturday that had a huge turnout. It was a fundraiser. The club had a vendor booth there, and I think they did rather well. We actually had two ham groups there. One was a study group on the other side, and Parker Radio Association, and looks like they traded information back and
Absolutely.
forth. So I've also added GMRS and get on their evening nets quite frequently, as well as quite a few of the ones Colorado Connection and the Parker Radio Association. And I live out in Elizabeth.
Awesome. Kermit, we're glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, who else we had back to the right here?
George Budrus, I'm just getting
Not yet.
interested. I'm a total not yet. Once again, with Kermit said at the expo, met Mr. Francis, and thought I'd.
We're glad you're here. Thank you so much for finding us. And we had in the back of the room.
Yeah, Norm Froman, K0 and LF, and basically I live over in Cass Pines North, and I'm here because Scott twisted my arm.
What, I mean, was it a hard twist or? Norm, we're glad you're here. Welcome.
My name is John. November Japan to Zero Alpha. Been a ham since 1971. So I did have to drive all the way down to a federal building, take a coach, and in a federal building. How many people can say they've done that?
John, welcome.
Ted Hannon. I got involved because of the expo and Kermit and all that. Met some of these guys. I've read chapter 1, so
Yeah, all right.
I'm on my way.
And you got to brag also, you scored well on your practice test.
I did. I answered the first question. I got it right.
Hey! Well, Jed, we're glad you're here. Anyone else? Any other new faces? All right. Well, our new members, again, it's kind of like Cheers around here. Everybody's going to get to know your name, so we're glad you're here, and thanks for finding us. I'll do the leadership introductions. I'll start with our Vice President, Paul.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Paul.
It's really good to see you.
The honor is
Dan's been
mine.
traveling a lot, so we haven't been getting together very often.
Yeah.
But Kermit also has been coming to our lunches on Wednesday. So
They are very good.
excellent. So if you don't know about Wednesday at Fuzzy's in Parker, if you're down that way, we started meeting at 11:15, and then Brad, where's Brad? He started getting there at 10:30.
Breakfast is
Having
great.
lunch, and anyway, so I tell people now it's really 10:45, but you can get there anytime from 10:45 to 11:15, and we're there. And if you don't want a taco, you can go next door to Jersey Mike's and get a sandwich. But anyway, I just want to welcome everybody that's here tonight. What a great turnout. Thank you very much for coming out. And I don't know if we're online yet, but
We are. We're live.
and welcome to everyone that's online as well. We've had a lot of activities this summer. The Parker Radio Association is just full of activities. We have some stuff coming up here we're going to talk about tonight. But I want you to get October the 15th. October the 15th, I want you to get that on your calendar. Talk to your significant other. Talk to, whatever it is that you need to make changes, or get it on your calendar now so you don't have to make changes. We have a fantastic event coming up on October the 15th. And we're going back down to Stan's farm in 0 KKY. Stan, can you raise your hand there? If you didn't recognize him, he's got a little bit of a thing.
I love it.
Yeah. Stan lives on a farm that goes way back to the 1800s. some of the original buildings are there, and the large barn has been turned into an event center. But I think we're the only people that probably use it. Maybe there's a few other groups. So we really want to thank Stan and his wife for having us out every year. We're going to have a chili cook-off. I say Brad won last year, but you know, I don't know that anybody really wins.
Do we let them?
We're also having a swap fest, Dan. And if you were there last year, you know that it was probably as good as any ham fest that's in the area.
Absolutely.
And then Randy's going to talk to you about, we're going to do a fox hunt. So that's the 15th of October. So put that on your calendar. Beautiful, beautiful place to have an event. You will not believe this barn. I can talk all night about it, but you won't believe it when you see it. So put that on your calendar. If you'd like to make chili, we're going to have a sign-up sheet here in a few weeks, and it's going to be fantastic. I have another event to talk about, but I'm down the list.
You're going to save it.
I'll save it until we get down the list. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. Welcome.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. Brian, our secretary, and I can't remember, wait, N? No, what's his name? W0AR. WA0R. So Brian is probably throwing his phone right now because he's watching. So Brian, our secretary, is on the road traveling, so best wishes to everyone. Our treasurer, Robert.
A0CA?
And he'll have a treasurer's report here in a little bit.
Yes.
At $250 a year, I still think it's out there.
Inflation kind of, we had to raise our dues from
Well, you
$200
got the check,
to
so,
$200.
yeah.
Well, we still do the cash discount. No, never mind. No, we're still good there. Our Chief Technology Officer, Jeff.
I'll have more to say on item E below, but good to see everyone.
Excellent. Glad that you're here. We'll go to our directors at large. Scott.
Hi, everybody. Scott, AK6Q, and I believe I have number D.
Excellent. And then Randy.
Yeah, I'm Randy, K0TNG, and you're going to hear too much from me. For a little while, so.
You already did.
Yeah.
Good job. Thanks so much.
Yeah, there we go.
No problem.
All right. So thank you, gentlemen. We'll dive into our treasurer's report. So Robert, the floor is yours.
All right. Balance sheet, the balance for the checking account right now is $10,040. We've got 255 active, 30 guests, some expired people out there. Thanks to Dan for keeping that all in order for us. Income so far this year, we did get our King Supers check in August. So we've got that going for us right now. Everything else has been just the PayPal income coming in for income, didn't spend a lot of money this month so far. So we still got some month to go here. That's the fun part about having me in the middle of the month. Haven't quite got the whole month done yet. But so far we're in good shape. Budget, our committee allocations are in good shape. We've met our 2 long-term goals for the our remote station project. And we've got our long-term cushion built up to where we wanted that to be. So, if anybody's got any questions, just let me know. And once again, our budget allocations equal what's in the checking account. So we allocate every dollar to something.
Absolutely. Any questions from the floor for Robert?
Like the new format.
Thanks, Scott.
Absolutely.
Much easier.
All right. Robert, thank you. Much appreciated. Always good to know we have money in the bank. But at the same time, too, we're not a bank. So as Robert alluded to, we allocate every dollar every single year. It's important. It doesn't do any benefit letting it sit around. So you know your money for your dues and donations get put to very, very good use, which we'll get into how we're spending that money. The Elmer and new member committee, Brad, W0BDT, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you, folks, and welcome tonight. Welcome to the new members. I'm kind of wearing 2 hats if I were wearing a hat. For new members, for those of you that are new or new to the hobby, please let us know how we can help you. Whether you're trying to study for your license, you need help with one of the concepts that you don't quite understand. Maybe you are a longtime ham but new to the area. You need help setting up an antenna. Randy's got some great ideas for stealth and visible antennas he's going to talk about tonight. Please let us know how we can help you. We have a contact form on the website. Put your name, call sign, contact information there with your question. Those get routed to the right people, and we'll find someone that can help you. I don't have all the answers, but we know who does. So we'll nominate someone to work with you for whatever your question or issue might be. Also for the Elmer Committee, we have an Elmer meeting monthly where we have a variety of topics that are a little more in-depth than some of our main presentations. We try to do some hands-on things. How many of you joined us in April for the NFED antenna build? Quite a few. We had so much fun with that, we're going to do it again. Working with Randy on his fox hunt, we're going to build an antenna out of one of these. We're going to build a tape measure Yagi. This and a little bit of PVC pipe is going to turn into a high gain directional antenna that we'll be able to use with Randy's fox hunt transmitter so that we can track down where it's at out on Stan's farm, I think is our current plan. So apparently though, I know how to work a radio and a tape measure, but not a calendar. So what we put in the announcement, I said would be 9/23. This month's meeting is on the 23rd. In September, it's going to be the 29th. So we'll get that corrected. I blame Brian, except he's not here. So
Maybe he's watching.
yeah, maybe he's watching. So Brian, I was counting on you to correct the date for me. September 29th is the Elmer Night. We'll be back here at the library, and we're going to be putting together the materials to make kits to do the antenna build. So we'll have more information coming. Watch the email blast. And I think that's all I have for today.
All right. Awesome, Brad.
Actually, I'll mention one other thing.
Yes.
In addition to the loaner radios that we have, that maybe Cameron will talk about, we also have a set of tools that are available. We have an antenna analyzer, a real nice Rig Expert AA600 that we'll use when we build our VA or UHF Yagi antennas to make sure they're working well. We also have a crimping tool that can do coax and power poles. So some of those things you don't need to use every day, we have them available for you. You can check out from the club so that you don't have to go out and buy one. So if you need that, there's a sign-up form again on the website that you can request checking out that set of tools. So please let us know how we can help.
Sounds great. Thank you, Brad. Much appreciated. Yeah, the new member in the Elmer Committee, just two very important parts of our organization. Again, every single one who's been in this room, and some of you here tonight, maybe it's your first meeting, but everyone has something in common when it comes to ham radio clubs. You've been to your very first meeting at some point, and Brad does a great job in leading the new member in the Elmer Committee. We really want to get you plugged in, not only to amateur radio, but to also help you get your questions answered, which is very important. So Brad, thank you for your help with that committee. Moving on, we'll go to John in for SJW with the repeater committee.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to do this from the back here. A couple quick updates. We have the DMR repeater up at Squaw right now. How many of you have the DMR capability? All right. If you need, first, if you need to know the particulars of how to set up your radio, go to the website, parkerradio.com. And if you go to On the Air, all the instructions will be there as far as color code, frequency, and things like that. If you still have problems, you can let me know, or Mark, a few of us that have worked with DMR. We'll help you set that up. Second, yes.
John, on the website, I think that's still listed as the Elizabeth DMR.
Yeah,
so that's where you'll get the info
yeah.
on.
Look at the Elizabeth repeater. It used to be at Jeff's house. Now it's up in that big, I can't pronounce, what's the new name of it?
The
I think that means squirrel. Don's repeater, W0CFI, is actually down here. It's actually at my house right now. We'll be putting that back up on the hill. And that's got a new battery backup thanks to Ray. ZL1 KG? ZL1, okay. And so we'll get that up there pretty soon, back up there. Also, we're going to take this huge boat battery that Ray and K0 TNG donated, so we'll have some additional backup power. We had some problems this last year with power going out at the site, and we've got most of that licked, so we're almost there as far as having basically a lot of extra capability. We're going to be doing some upgrades at the water tower site up by Centennial Airport. I'll have further updates probably by the next meeting. We'll probably see a new repeater coming online there. Any questions about repeater stuff? Thank you, everyone.
Now, if you're a new ham and you're wondering what's a repeater, what's DMR, what are these color codes and crayons he's talking about, don't worry, it's okay. It is absolutely okay. It only took me about 6 years to figure out DMR, so you're in good hands. Paul, you had a question?
I just wanted to point out that we
Good, all right.
So it works good.
All right, we will have some changes. I won't get into the details right now, but we're going to do some antenna work, but that's about it right now. Any other questions? If you have any questions after the meeting, please come.
So we got locked out of the water tower site, and we didn't have a good contact because the person that set that up a few years ago is now in the Bahamas, I think. So, and he's not answering his emails or phone or anything. So, just want to let you know, Scott and I met with the Water Authority, Arapahoe County Wastewater and Water Authority, and had a very good meeting with them. And it didn't start out real well. Let me just put it that way. But as it turns out, they welcome us being there, primarily because we're on the opposite side of the tower where they're at, and they didn't even know we were there, but we're not causing them any trouble, and so we now have a contact and we have the 2 thumbs up. I feel like that we've probably got the site secured for many more years to come, but still nothing in writing, no MOU. I believe we're going to get there at some point, but right now we are talking to the right people, the people that do manage the site, and we have permission to be there now.
Perfect.
So I just want to update everybody on that. Those of you that know, that's our experimental site. If you have something you want to put up there, then you can get with John. We have room on the tower. We have room in the cabinet.
Well, Paul, Scott, thank you very much. I mean, that's a big deal. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Fox hunt, Randy, anything you'd like to go over regarding the fox hunt?
Everybody know what a fox hunt is? Anybody who doesn't?
Tell us.
Yeah, killed all my chickens. We need to go.
Basically, it's a transmitter that we put out someplace, and using your HT, or if you happen to have a small QRP radio, you can, and a Yagi antenna, which is going to be built at this next Elmer night. You can zero in and actually try to find it. It'll transmit about every 30 seconds, maybe every minute, and it'll send out CW, or Morse code basically, station ID. And whoever finds it first wins a radio.
Whoa.
What kind of radio would that be?
It would be a handheld radio.
And not the one inside the Fox transmitter. So,
Panasonic 3
no, it's totally different. So, at any rate, a little incentive there, what the heck, you can always keep it, get rid of it, whatever. That'll be on the 15th out at Stan's house, like Paul mentioned. And make sure you show up for Elmer night and build an antenna, if you don't already have a UHF Yagi antenna. So, that's about all at this point. We may do some testing that night when you do build the antenna. So,
I need to know the frequency.
well, it doesn't have to be that. It's only receive only on your antenna, so it isn't that critical. But it's going to be 4 something and simplex, probably on the low end. So, and that's it.
Thanks, Randy. We'll get into the diabetes cycling event. Scott, you have an update for that?
I do. Let me slide around. Got a little explaining to do. So,
Make it efficient.
As most of you know, we do support Pedaling for Parkinson's in the early summer, late spring. And that race was, as a fundraiser, was supposed to grow into the diabetes bicycle race. The Pedaling for Parkinson's is about a 10-15 mile, I think, 40 miles.
10 and...
What was the
10
long course,
40.
Terry?
40.
40? Okay, so it had a 40-mile element to it. The American Diabetes Race was going to have a 100-mile element to it. With that, Randy and I had met with the coordinators of this event because they had reached out to us and wanted some help with communications. We've been through a couple of calls with them. They are having some internal difficulties getting their courses established, finalized, permitted, and we don't know that it's even going to go at this point. So we, having so many pieces that we have to move around to get into place, had to step away from this race for this year. The timing is just not there for us to prove our stuff that we need to do to have it all ready to go. Unlike Pedaling for Parkinson's is a kind of a set course, it doesn't change too much. We can adjust pretty easy on a smaller course. But this is a multi-jurisdictional. It's going to go from here all the way down into Castle Rock, plus a series of tracks up through King Carroll, Lone Tree area. So it was a really, really big course, big undertaking. So anyway, that race is off for us for this year, but we're hoping to be a part of it next year. So anyway, mark that one off of September 10th, we are not doing.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the
Yeah.
update. Any questions for Scott? All right. Self-Reliance Expo follow-up. Jeff.
Jeff Francis and Zero GQ. We were invited by Kermit last Saturday to participate in the Elbert County Self-Reliance Expo. We set up a booth. There were, I think, 7 of us there total, staffing the booth at different times during the day. I used to staff events like this for my company for a living, and this was the most fun, best event I think I've ever done in my life, including the big ones in San Francisco with 200,000 people. This was the most fun. We had 400, somewhere around 400 visitors come through the building. I think 399 of them stopped to talk with us. It was fantastic. We gave away everything we had on the table to give away. We have a bunch of people showed up tonight that we met at the expo, and there's some more came in a little later. We want to welcome you guys in particular. All our visitors are very welcome. We want to welcome you guys in particular tonight. Make sure you talk to somebody. Make sure you talk with Brad. Brad runs all of our, Brad is in charge of welcoming our new people, but talk to anyone here, except maybe Randy. We try to avoid we wait a couple weeks before we expose you to Randy, but talk to anyone else here. We'd love to talk to you about what you're doing, what you'd like to do, what you need to learn. We'd like to invite you back next Tuesday night for Elder Night. Elder Night's a great time to sit down and have a little bit more of a conversation. This is more of a structured meeting where we kind of run through things. We always run up against our 8 o'clock time where they kick us out of the building. Next Tuesday night, we'll have a lot more opportunity to sit down and just talk. Ask any questions you want, have a conversation. We'll help you figure out where to go from here. It was a great event. Absolutely loved it, met a lot of great people. So welcome everybody. And if you miss showing up and you're one of us in the club, assuming we do this again next year, come on out. It's a great time. It was a great event.
I have to give a special kudos to Jeff. Every piece of anything that was on that table was purely by his doing. The complete setup was all his. The layout was all his. Hauling the equipment in, all him. And talk about a great booth presence. I mean, it made my job kind of easy. But at the same time, too, Jeff deserves a tremendous amount of applause for what he did. So, Jeff, great job. Any questions for Jeff?
Dan, are you saying that Jeff was self-reliant?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, heck, we strung up an NFED antenna.
We did, and we received lots of interference from the lights.
Oh, yeah.
And
But we got KOA in. I mean,
we got KOA,
we got
and
KOA.
we managed to screw up the PA system every time we transmitted.
I did that with a handheld.
Yeah, it was great fun.
Yeah, that was good. Portable ops and deployments, Paul.
So we have a group within the group. It's called Portable Ops. And it's a group of members that like to take the HF rigs and our VHF and UHF handhelds and go out in the woods or at a state park or at a lake and deploy that equipment and try to make contacts. We make contacts with Parks on the Air folks around the country, and also Summits on the Air, and just people that are on there in the mornings. We typically do this every month. We try to do an outing every month. Our September event is on the 24th, and it's really our premier event for the year. We go up to Signal Butte in Teller County. It's about an hour and a half drive out there. We hike up this it's not a tall mound. I'm not sure what you call it. It's not really a mountain. It's a peak. It's a peak. It's a very strenuous hike, okay? But it's, you take your time, you can get up there. We get on top of this peak, 360-degree views. And you view the entire Hayman Burn area in Teller County. You can see the collegiate peaks back to the west. It's absolutely fantastic. And we set up HF stations, and we operate people on VHF as well with handhelds. So it's the 24th. We're going to meet at the Methodist Church, Parker United Methodist Church, at about 6 o'clock, I believe. And we'll drive up there. We'll take the hike up the hill, deploy our antennas. We usually have 6 or 7 or 8 HF antennas, and people are on their handhelds too, doing peak to peak and that type of thing. And we'll work till about 11:30. We'll come back down, get in the vehicles, go to Colorado Springs, and have some barbecue at Rudy's. So that's the event. It's our premier event for the year. If you're interested in coming, certainly let us know, or just show up at the parking lot at Parker United Methodist Church. Scott, did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, this is a SOTA peak, so it qualifies for Summits on the Air, and it will also be a POTA activation for those that want to do POTA. Park number will be Kilo 4404.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
if you're really bold, I'm planning on being up there camping Friday night because it's about the last opportunity you're going to have for the season. So if you want to join me, then more power to you.
Several people have talked about camping up in the area, so that's available. And if you're new and you don't know what Parks on the Air or Summits on the Air, catch Scott or Cameron or myself after the presentation. We'll be happy to explain that to you briefly. Parks on the Air and Summits on the Air, a lot of fun, a lot of people. How many participate in those two activities? Excellent. You can either be the person going out to do it, or you can be the hunter making contacts. So anyway, any questions about the Signal Butte trip on the 24th of September?
Your August is canceled.
We did cancel our August event. That is correct. Okay.
Excellent. Thanks,
Thank you,
Paul.
Dan.
Any questions for Paul?
What time are you meeting at the church?
06.
I believe it's 6 o'clock a.m. And it'll be in the blast, the email blast again, several times between now and then. It comes out on Sunday morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions for Paul? All right, moving on, we have the licensing and study partnership. So how many soon-to-be new hams in the room? How many technicians? How many generals? Okay, so we have a few. We've partnered up with a group called Ham Radio Prep, and what they provide is both a online resource as well as a book resource to help you study either for your amateur radio test or to upgrade as well. So if you take a look at hamradioprep.com, you can see the plethora of resources that they have. Our partnership with them, we actually have a super duper really cool offer that they've extended to the Parker Radio Association. If you use our coupon code, which our coupon code, guess what it is? PRA. You get 20% off anything that you order through them. So a publication or their online resource, totally available to you. So real nice partnership that we have going with them. I think they offer all kinds of money-back guarantees and things like that, which is really good. And I think one of their guarantees is that you'll pass the first time you take the test, which is really cool. So hamradioprep.com, make sure you check them out and use the coupon code PRA. It is not case sensitive, so check that out as well. So good stuff there. So any questions on that? All right, moving right along. Speaking of PRA support, the PRA relies on donations, obviously, as a 501c3, but we also partner with local organizations as well as international organizations. King Soopers, which is part of the Kroger Corporation, have a community rewards program. So if you are a Kroger or King Soopers shopper, if you go into your King Soopers card online and you have not selected a charity of choice, which you can do, the Parker Radio Association is there. And it costs nothing to you to elect the Parker Radio Association as your charity of choice through the King Soopers Community Rewards Program. Every purchase that we make as a collective group and people who have selected the PRA, we get a kickback from that. And Robert talked about that earlier. We get how much back quarterly on average?
We got $590 this past
So,
quarter,
yeah, so
$590.
somewhere between $550 and $600 we get back per quarter from Kroger, which we're very appreciative of. If you have family members that are in other parts of the country that maybe have a Kroger grocery outlet near them, pass that along as well. It's not just this area. Anyone across the country can sign up for that. So that certainly goes a long way. Probably very few of us don't use Amazon. So those of you who do use Amazon, if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can also select the Parker Radio Association as a charity of choice. All the prices are the same from the Amazon.com site compared to the smile.amazon.com site. And we get a little kickback every quarter as well from our friends at Amazon. So a couple ways that through your grocery shopping or your gas fill-ups or your Amazon purchases, you can help select the PRA and support your local amateur radio organization, because it certainly goes a long way. Loaner equipment, we're going to talk about HF radios, crimping tools, antenna analyzers, and the man who is in charge of that, Cameron.
Took it over beginning of the month from Dan. Currently have the 991A, awesome HF all band, all mode radio, and the IC705, the QRP rig sitting in my house, as well as the tools. The 991A is being put to good use on my bench, because they will not go unused in my house. I will make sure they stay nice and toasty. However, we'll make sure they get out to you guys. So get on rental. Just click on the loaner equipment link on the webpage. Sign up for a date. I'll get an email. I'll let you know when I'm available for you to come by and get it.
Pretty good deal. And that's available to any PRA member. It's a club asset, so we want to put our assets to use. So those loaners certainly go a long way. We use those for our special event stations like Wings Over the Rockies and Field Day and things like that. So throughout the course of the year, obviously, there's a lot of time frame that's in there. So please put those resources to use.
If you're a technician, you can check out the 991. It does have a UHF, VHF
That's
capability.
right.
So if you want to get on a UHF, VHF, radio that's pretty decent, and to play with some of the other, available modes that you can do with that, by all means, come check it out. Just stay within your privileges.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks for the update, Cameron.
Since no one explicitly said it, that is free to members. That's part of your membership benefits.
And they're a full setup. Antenna, power supply, everything.
Speaking of, any chance that we could buy a couple of pieces of coax so that for folks who are new, if they need a piece to finish the setup, that we could have those available?
10 grand in the bank, I think we can afford it.
I figured, I just thought I should throw that out there.
Robert, make that happen. See? Quick decisions. Didn't need board approval for that.
7,300, is that still, is it just out right now?
That one is out right now. I forget who has it.
Oh, you forget who has it?
We got you on video. We know who has it. Plausible deniability. All right. Any other questions for Cameron and the loaner program? All right, hearing none. Remote Station Initiative, John.
Hey, Dan. Like Dan said, I'm John, Whiskey Romeo 0 Oscar Tango. We are getting started on setting up a remote station for the club. We're hoping to. We're just starting a lot of the investigation. Things have really picked up. I don't have a whole lot of new information or anything to really share. I know there's been a lot of rumor kind of going around, but we've got a big group of volunteers, and we're starting to sift through and sort through wants and desires and specification and features and all the things that go into setting up a remote station and the endless ways of solving all the things you've got to solve for that. We're looking to really narrow the scope down, keep things simple, start simple, start with something straightforward. But we still got a lot of work ahead of us. One of the big things we do need to sort out is a location to go to. Ideally, we'd love to get into a location that is RF quiet. So we're on to start putting the word out to everyone in the club on possibilities of location that we could set up at. I think power is going to be a really nice to have. Trying to go off-grid is rather expensive, but we want to look at all of our options. We'd like to ideally be, south of I-70, east of Parker, Elizabeth area. We don't want to get too far from the Parker area, but we can look at a fairly large range. So I think that's the big need we're looking for, is trying to identify a site to go to. I know a site will kind of dictate some of the things, what we can and can't do. We need to start knowing that, but we're starting to investigate different options of things we can do and ways we can solve the problem, and try and start doing a little testing within the group, and hopefully we'll start making progress quickly.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Any questions for John? Yes.
I'm new, I just joined.
Hi, new.
Thanks, Ken. I'm Tony.
Hi, Tony.
KZ580B, and I was just curious what the primary objective is for the remote station.
So some of that question was just, what is a primary objective? We want to make a night station available for HF use for anyone in the club. Now, whether that's, trying to solve problems where we've got a lot of people that are in HOAs or limited or in high noise areas, that can make, particularly on single sideband, that really makes contacts difficult. You can do a lot. I do a lot in a high noise environment at my house on FT8. There's a lot of ways, but sideband's really the difficult one, when you're trying to pick up DX. But really, whether you just don't have the money to put into buying all the equipment to get on HF, that could be a big investment sometimes. So yeah, we just want to help ease that for a lot of people.
So somebody will have an application at home they can remote in and operate on here.
We want to keep it as simple as possible. We know we've got a lot of different skill levels. So again, we want to keep things simple and easy to use and straightforward. We'd like to give as much capability as we can, but things get expensive fast when we try and solve all the problems.
I used to belong to a club in California, WBAB.
Okay.
W6AB. It's been a club since, probably about 100 years now. They have a remote station set up for club use. And it might be worthwhile contacting them to see what they've done and what problems they've run into to solve some of the issues.
Yeah, let's meet offline. Get some emails.
My radio at home is completely remote.
I have been working with some other clubs also. That's been a great tool just to kind of see what others are doing and going through.
Great
So, yeah,
suggestion.
let's
Yeah,
meet
real
after.
good suggestion. Any other questions for John? All right. Moving right along. Wings over the Rockies, Randy.
Yeah, special event, Wings Over the Rockies, September 17th, which is a Saturday. We're going to go 8 to 4. what that basically is, and Wings Over the Rockies is located in Centennial. So that is going to be a B-17 event. They're bringing in a vintage B-17. They're going to have a bunch of warbirds. I'm going to try and get a World War II pilot here that's about 99 years old and still kicking. I mean, he volunteers at one of the museums up in Seattle. And so we're going to try and get him down here so we can actually...
Art under?
Is he flying? He'll sit in the, what is it, the navigator seat that's behind him if he goes and flies. No, this guy really has his stuff together. He's getting, there's lots of videos on YouTube with this guy.
Is it Art Unruh?
No.
Okay, because he does that.
Yeah. Yeah. He's one of them. No, this is Dick Nelms, N-E-L-M-S. And good guy. It's amazing. He's a little short guy. But at any rate, we need volunteers. So anybody wants to volunteer, come on out. We run the radios. We'll run an HF station. We'll run a VHF station. And we need setup. We'll have to set up. And the advantage, if you volunteer, then you can get in for no cost.
Hey.
If you, that doesn't mean you're going to fly in the B-17, but you can get in. If you want to fly in the B-17, you've got to pay up front. And I don't know what it costs this year. Paul, how much
It's $750, I believe, for the seats back in the gunner area, and $1,600, I think, to ride in the bombardier position. So, you know,
it's only money.
$750 to ride the B-17 is really. I mean, how long is that plane going to be around and that type of thing? So,
but most of those tickets are probably already sold, are they not? Are those seats?
They may.
I don't believe they have opened it up yet. But
because I know when the other one last time, those seats were gone within. I think the person told me within like 8 or 9 hours.
Right. So when they do get it on the website, if you want to take a ride, you need to sign up right away.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do have after steering seats available, but you got to have really good grip, and they're free. So other than that, we're going to be running a special event station, Whiskey Zero Romeo. So we got a special call sign for it.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep. Yes, Brad. Thank you. So come on out, please volunteer. We need some people to help man radios, hang out, talk about ham radio, that sort of thing. And they said they get about 2,000 people going through there. And again, this is at Centennial Airport. It's on the south end of the airport. If you've never been there for this Wings Over the Rockies, it's near the south terminal. And if you look it up, it'll actually be on our blast when it comes out. So.
Awesome. Any more questions for Randy?
You got a sign-up sheet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Just email me at k0tng@parkerradio.org.
Yeah, and the big thing is, not only the actual cool checkout of all the aviation and the history that's there, but we get to be really good ham radio ambassadors as well. A lot of people come through, check out what we have going, and then we have the special event station going, and Brad has just done a fantastic job in helping facilitate that, getting the call sign, the QSL cards, the uploads, the QRZ. It goes a long way. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the curtain that not a lot of people see. So definitely kudos to Brad for his assistance on that. And I don't know. Yeah, pizza, food trucks. Yeah.
There will be food there for you.
Guaranteed. You will eat. All right. We'll get into the soapbox comments. So any new licensees in the last 3 months? All right. How about any upgrades in the last 3 months? Anybody upgrade? Boy, it's a tough crowd tonight. How about a new mode? Anybody operate a new mode? Maybe FT4 or Olivia or Vanessa. Hellschreiber. No? How about a new radio? Come on, somebody's had to get a new radio here lately. Someone?
New old radio.
New old one?
Yes.
What'd you get?
ICOM IC 7200.
There you go. Good radio.
It's very good radio.
Very good radio.
Yeah.
Any other new candy?
Got a QDX on order. I'm on the list.
Nice. Anyone else?
Dan, did you get your Maestro yet?
Did you text him?
I do not, but I do have a video I can share with the club, but
I look at the Maestro like a nice fillet. I'd rather have a fillet than a hamburger any day. So
You know, Dan, we were at Hamvention, the guy knew your name and said it'll be out any day now.
I still have the video. Yeah. Fourth quarter, right? All right. How about new DX? I know there was one new DX in this room tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which island that was.
It was off the coast of
Just
Spain.
off the coast of Spain. We're running the remote station here, and yeah, within the first minute of getting online and everything turned on, I see new DX show up, and I worked in within about 5 minutes,
Excellent.
and yeah.
Excellent.
They get a clean sweep on K7K to
Oh, yeah.
Kiska Island.
Nice.
All-time new one, POTA, so I got it on all 3 modes.
Excellent.
So that was
Congrats on
pretty
that.
good. He's already confirmed.
Yep.
Even better. Even better. There was one other new DX.
Yeah, I was camping in the mountains and happened to get chili and 50 watts.
Excellent.
SSB.
What band?
17.
Excellent. That's real good.
Yeah.
I'm curious, does anyone else work K7K in here?
Brad?
Cool.
Very good.
I saw him a whole total one time for about 2 seconds, and he was gone. I was so annoyed.
Brad?
Put up a new Skyloop antenna, and I've gotten about 7 or 8 new countries with it.
Wow.
So the high bands on the 15. 15, well, how high? It's up about 40 feet.
Excellent.
It's a 40 meter. I didn't have the room for the 80 meter, but great,
Oh,
quiet,
that's awesome.
quiet on 40, and if you just receive only, it's really quiet on 80.
Very
So you
good.
get all health reports, ham health reports.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. The bands have been cooperating a little bit lately, which is really
The
good.
last couple of days have finally calmed down.
Yeah.
Picked up the Indianapolis Motor Speedway special event.
W9
station
IMS.
races, for their 3 races this year, so I'm just waiting on their cards to come back for the 3 races, so we'll see how long that takes.
Very good. All right. Any other final comments or ham radio announcements that we didn't go over? Yes, sir.
I'm going to be placing an order for t-shirts, for the club t-shirts, probably end of September. So go online to place your orders now.
Get in the queue.
Get in the queue. So it'll be ordering around the end of September. Probably won't get them till October-ish. November-ish. So.
What are they going to look like? Not like Scott.
Well, you can get different colors, but yes.
Variety of colors.
There are a variety of colors.
Paul?
we have a ham fest coming up, right? The
Yes.
PRA's bought some tables.
Yeah, I think so.
The 28th.
Yep.
Where's that located?
Where's that one?
Adams County?
Yeah, it's got in Brighton.
In Brighton, okay. So we have 3 tables, you can bring stuff out to sell it.
Yep.
Get there early, because then Hamfest kind of
Fills
shuts
up.
down early. So
Yeah.
don't get there at 10 o'clock. It'll be all gone, but get there when it opens. I think it opens at 9, is that right, Robert?
I don't remember offhand.
8:30 or 9, probably.
Yeah.
Check the, I know we've been putting it in the email blast.
Yeah. Bring your stuff, bring your boxes, come in the vendor door. You can look around and find us.
Yeah.
But we have 3 tables paid for. We just need your stuff.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I got 3 tables and 5 vendors.
Even
And I
better.
heard that Mark is now back on, so the Boulder Radio
Yep.
Fest is back on.
Saw that.
And
That's
if you're
good.
bringing things to sell, make sure you're there before 9 o'clock, maybe about 7:30.
Yeah, give us a list, tag it, give us a list. That way, if you're walking around the Ham Fest and somebody's interested in some of your wares, we can price it and sell it for you. Any other comments or questions before we adjourn the business meeting?
If you're going to play HF, do it before this weekend.
Yeah.
We had
Solar storm a coming.
15 flares in the past 48 hours.
Yep.
So this weekend's going to be some good auroras.
Are any of them earth facing or?
All of them were earth facing.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. So,
The big one tomorrow hitting,
space weather like
Yep.
that. What was that?
and the big one tomorrow is gonna hit.
Starts tomorrow.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow.
It's already up to 1:30. Next 3 days.
Use your phone.
All right, well, that's the conclusion of the business meeting, so thank you for hanging in with us. Again, one of the best parts about a PRA monthly meeting is that one of our members gives a presentation on something ham radio related. And it's just a great way, you know, you probably have heard me say, and also in some of my columns that I write up on the website, just giving of our time, talent, and treasures. And Randy's got a great presentation lined up tonight on stealth antennas. Many of us live in a HOA or some sort of a covenant-restricted community, and Randy's got some hints and tricks to show to be able to get you on the air and active on HF, even with those dreaded HOAs and covenants that we got to kind of skirt around a little bit. So without further ado, I'll introduce Randy, K0TNG, who will give our monthly presentation.
Yeah, you all know me.
You got to
Say
get
it
too.
out here too many times. All right.
Here, you get this.
Thanks. It's gonna take me a minute. Got a smoke one? I keep hearing this chirp. Cool.
That's your backyard, right?
Is it coming up? Looks better on there. Okay, so I originally was going to do this as a covert antenna presentation only, and I was hoping people would send me a lot of pictures. Unfortunately, in the last year and a half, I didn't get a lot of covert antennas from everybody, but I did get a lot of pictures. And so this is going to be just about everything. And it's going to break it out with what people are currently doing, like for home antennas, portable antennas, and then we'll go to the covert antennas. And keep in mind that at home, you know, you can, if you're trying to hide things from your HOA, you could certainly use portable antennas too, and just take them out when you want to go on the air and go on the air. Take them down when you're done. Then your neighbors won't know. But at any rate, let's go ahead and get started. That's pretty self-explanatory, actually. I am no expert when it comes to antennas by any means. I fiddle-farted around for quite a while when I first got started, about 4 years ago. Then Paul showed up, and then it was really a mess. But no, things got a lot better. So at any rate. Okay, going to start with home antennas. That's, of course, my tower. Just wanted you to see that. Proud of that. I'm not proud of the little thing under here, but I'm proud of it. Thank you, Brad. Talk to you after the meeting. Okay, HOA rules. So, you know, everybody'd like to have something like this, but, you know, it takes money. Doesn't take a lot of money. I mean, it takes a certain amount of money for covert antennas and other antennas too, if you really want to go out and buy them all the time. If you want to make them, there are plenty of books available. ARRL has a lot of different ideas of things you can do to keep your costs down. So as for me, I seem to just go out and buy them. And then I find out they don't work. So then I'm stuck with antennas I got to take to the Hamfest to get rid of. So, anyway, purpose of this presentation really is just to go over that and covert antennas if you have to. You can get on the air. So here we go. And I put this together today, so excuse me, and I was flying through it, and I didn't get much sleep last night.
That 1,000 so far.
Yeah? Okay. So this is home antennas, on mass mount home antennas. This is a typical example of somebody mounting it in front of their house. Personally, I don't like putting antennas in front of my house, but I put everything in the back. But this individual doesn't have an HOA, so therefore, and he's a member, he can go ahead and put this stuff up, and apparently nobody complains about it. But that's just a vertical, some guy support, and the building support, and a tripod. So awful lot of support there. And these are mass mount antennas, happens to be mine. I've got a couple of them. This was my early stuff that I put up. One of them is an X50 with a TV, and there's a little box up there. Wish I had a pointer. But there's a little box at the bottom of the antenna on the right, which is an AH4, which is, the reason I have that is because Paul suggested that since none of my antennas were working, and I happen to have an ICOM 7300, and that thing works pretty darn good. Obviously, you could hide it if you want. Oh, you have one?
Where's the chief technology?
Push that button right there.
What happens if I put the other button?
Push whatever.
Right. Hell, I can't even see it. It's right there, AH4. And there's a wire going to it right now that's going downhill, but only because the other end of the long wire broke. Actually, the tower part, or the mast partially broke. AH4 gives you basically a long wire. The AH4 has a tuner built in, and it basically matches up to the IC7300. And it does a pretty good job. I mean, I could actually, before I extended it to the point, to a length that I shouldn't have extended it to, I was actually able to actually get out on 160, which was surprising, just with the line that they put on it. But it's pretty handy. I mean, it's kind of directional. Mine was pointing directly at KOA. So. Yeah.
Did that come in real good?
Oh yeah, too good. Left mass, just to give you an idea, a couple of dual bands, and then this hamstick spider octopus, or whatever they call it. It's on a rotor. I honestly have never used it because I have to take it back down and tune the ham sticks. So yeah, it looks cool. And this will come up later when something else comes up here. Okay, I need to move along. I got a ton of these things, of slides here. There's an example of somebody putting a Diamond X50 up on a roof mount vent. So that's always available to you. If you can stick it in the back of your house, maybe nobody can see it, paint it colors, and we'll deal with painting too. Here's a house. Let's see, whose house is this? Roof-mounted vertical and wire antennas, as far as I could tell from looking at it. Mark, is this one?
X300 is what that.
Is that an X300?
Yeah, it's an X300, 10 feet tall, and then that's a G5 RV light.
Oh, there you go.
Not that I would know.
No, I figured that. Okay, here's one, a Gap Titan that's ground mounted, has guy supports. Pretty complicated antenna to set up and get tuned, as the owner knows. Towers. Everybody wants a tower. Well, you saw my tower. It's pretty cool. 40-foot Roan 25G tilts over, dual band with a hex beam on top, which you can't see all of it. That happens to be the PRA North repeater, which is actually Dirk's repeater. I call it the North PRA repeater, just so I can keep track of it on my radios. This is actually my tower. Same basic idea. I've got a disc cone up there and something else. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on that because not everybody can have a tower, and I understand that. I have no HOA. Either that or the HOA doesn't care. Or whenever they have a meeting once a year, which I'm not even a member of, they get all carried away on paving the roads because they're dirt roads since the 60s. So that's about the only thing they ever talk about. All right, portable antennas. You can always use these at home. So there's a portable antenna. Basically, I'm not quite sure exactly what's up there, but I think it's an inverted V. And I think you can, and it's also kind of set up as a temporary. I think there's guy wires, and then I think this is an inverted V back here. Yeah, inverted V dipole. And that is something, you know, if you have a problem with your HOA, hey, go out at night and set one of these things up. Have it all set and ready to go and put it up, and maybe your neighbors won't notice. Unless you have somebody named Karen next door. What's the guy's version of Karen? Kevin? Ken? All right. Here's a portable disc cone. Picnic table disc cone. Or a disc cone, what am I saying? It's a Comet dual band. Got disc cone on the brain here. Portable antennas. This happens to be one of mine. It's actually a tripod with a crappie stick and a QRP guys. Antenna, vertical. It has radials that go down to the ground and also guy wires to hold it up. I used this at Field Day a few years ago. And I don't usually call anybody out, but Dana, what exactly is this antenna?
That is a Hustler resonator, 20 to 40 meter.
Okay. So, I don't know, does this show up there?
Yep.
Whoops, wrong button. And what's going on there, because it didn't show up very good in the picture?
So the resonator is just on top of the mast, and it's like a 3-magnet mount that sits on top of the cab of the truck. And
okay, so what's above the...
those are the coils, those are the resonators.
Okay.
So like I said, there's a 20 plus a 40 up there.
And are they like in a V formation?
Yeah, they're in V formation.
Okay.
And no, I don't drive with that up there.
I don't know why. I see you going through the drive-through. Parking garage. All right. You got a hex beam here, and I assume a vertical. Nice picture, by the way. Huh?
Yeah, 80 meter. 80 meter. Okay.
I like the picture. Portable hex beam. And we know who that is. Actually, it seems to work pretty well. Mounted on a hitch.
What's the setup time for something like that?
For portable. For 20 meters only, it took me 20 minutes the first time I set it up.
And now?
For 20 meters only.
Minute a meter.
Now with Scott helping, it was 40
Other Scott.
Wasn't there. Not me. Too many cooks in the kitchen. All right, portable antennas. This happens to be done at Centennial when we did actually our first special event there. The one in the front is a X50 on a tripod. It's been held down because it gets windy out there with guys. And then further down is the Chameleon MPass 2 that we set up in a vertical configuration. Pretty nice antenna. I mean, you could use that at home if you wanted to. It breaks down. It's really made for backpacking. Well, kind of. It's kind of heavy, but it's great for POTUS and that sort of thing, or if you want to set it up at home. It's pretty, well, it's kind of hard to see. It's green, my favorite color. No.
And the fence is in a reflector position, right?
Correct. Hey, we tried to move the fence, but it just didn't work.
It's a phase direct.
And that's the Chameleon MPass, if anybody wanted to know what it looks like. Actually, there's several different antennas there, which I put out there. The vertical, you could do an inverted V. You could do, I guess, an end fed. I don't know. I've only used the vertical part of it. It's very expensive, but it seems to work. They do break.
Most expensive part of that thing is that matching device, and you can build one for probably 20 bucks.
But it doesn't work as good as this one.
I don't know. Somebody broke one down on YouTube. It ain't much. It's like 6 toroids with a couple of copper rods.
You're buying quality.
Supporting veterans.
Yeah, that's it. This is a portable activation on last summer that we did. Scott, that was a 9-to-1 Ballon, is that right?
No, it's a 64-to-1.
Okay, I was close.
You hit the to one part, right?
Yeah, really. Actually, I should have taken a picture of the antenna I was trying to use, which was this MFJ. You plug it in the top of your radio to hit, whatever. I had 2 or 3 of them, 20 meters and 40 and that sort of thing, and they don't work. So don't buy those. I couldn't get anybody. I could hear people. Nobody could hear me on QRP. That was a fun hike. At any rate, that is a sloper, the Ballon, and the operator over on the left-hand side. And you can't really see the line. Maybe you guys can. I can't.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And another vertical that Dana set up. Is that a crappie pole or is that something else, Dana?
It's a 40-foot spider beam.
Spider beam? Okay. And I know you don't run down the road in that either. Okay. Covert antennas. This is what we're here for. All right. So we got this covert antenna. It's dual purpose. NVIS. Everybody know what NVIS is?
Near vertical.
Near vertical.
Skyway.
Very good. But it's dual purpose. It's to hide it from the neighbors. All right, so here's an example of a covert antenna. I happen to have one, but there's others out there. A vertical of some sort, like a 6BTV, 4DBTV is a little bit hard because it has radial sticking out of it. But this particular one is 24, 25 feet tall, 26. And there is a mount, which I'm going to pop up here, that folds over. So thinking about someone that wants the antenna, installs it, and then puts it up maybe at night in order to use the radio at night, neighbors probably wouldn't even know. So that's one example that you could do for covert. Here's another covert antenna, flagpole. Very expensive, but certainly doable. How well do they work, Paul?
I'm told they work very well.
And they're one of the ones that even the OHOA can't tell you no to. So you can put it out in plain sight. They can complain all they want, but they cannot stop you from putting up a flagpole.
They
There.
can make a, they can
They can limit your
limit the
height.
height.
Limit the height and which yard you can put it in, but
Right, where you put it, but they can't say no, just like over there, receive antennas, they can't tell you no on that either.
Okay. 20 feet on that one. And I think they're $1,200, something like that, on that particular one. All right. Terry, I'm going to call on you to tell me about your antenna because it is kind of covert. Is it in the backyard?
Yeah, it's just 18 gauge wire that's black, and you can't, even in the backyard, most of the people can't see it, but it goes from the corner of the house, which is probably about 25 feet, down to the top of the fence at 8. There's one that covers 30 meters, the other one does 10 and 20 and 40. But I mean, it's been up for years, and even the neighbors across the fence have never said anything about it. They sometimes look funny when the birds are sitting on it, because it looks like the birds are kind of hanging out in the air. But it's just, yeah, so there's a little mount box on the end, but it's up under the eaves. Where
Yeah,
it
you can't really see it,
down
but
the
it's
house
right
and
in
the
the
basement. But yeah, the radiator itself is just, it's thin and it's black, and
Crispy.
when there's leaves on the trees, you can't see that it's back there. especially from the front of the house. I've never had any issues.
Okay.
And they're inexpensive.
And you're using black?
Yeah, it's, the wire's called Silky. Wireman sells it. It's like a Teflon coated wire. And they make, if you really need to get sneaky, they make a 26 gauge that I use for backpacking, but I'm not sure how long it would last with ice and whatnot in the winter. But it stands up to UV, the Teflon coating, and it's really easy to handle. It's got a nice hand to it, the wire.
So there's another option for someone, putting it in your backyard. It's a ladder line. I don't know how covert that is, but it apparently works. And I called it a sloper. I don't know what you would call that, but there it is going into somebody's house, the ladder line. Yeah, I don't know. Whoever sent, I don't even know who sent this to me, to be honest with you. Paul. Paul, yeah. Paul, no wonder you're moving. All right. But I'm guessing it works. I don't know. All right, here, so we'll really get to covert antennas. This is a mobile dual band mounted in the attic. If you can get access to your attic, that's great. This one looks fairly high. It's sitting on a strip of metal. I had another photo. It was a longer strip, kind of like, yeah, you could use a cookie tray too, a metal one or a steel one.
Edging, landscape.
Yeah, edging. Yeah, that's what this was.
You got ductwork in the attic that works well too. Not the flex. Not the metal, yeah, hard metal, yeah.
All right, here's an X50 or maybe an X30, I don't know which, but that dual band antenna mounted in the attic. I don't know if that's the same attic or not. I kind of started losing track of who sent me different things while I was doing this. So, but that's another option for you. And as long as we're talking about covert antennas, Tom's not here, are you? No. Tom didn't come tonight, probably because he knew I was going to be putting this photo up. Is he? Okay. So at any rate, he's got several antennas here that he, thank God, marked because I couldn't see them. So I think he's got the ultimate. Well, there's one right there. See, that doesn't show up on my monitor. But there is that particular one right there. He's got them all over the place. I'm surprised kids on the swing or on the set there aren't hanging themselves. But apparently this works out pretty well for him. I wish he would have been here. I wanted to have him explain the whole thing. Another option for you, it's probably that real thin stealth wire that's available. Either from the Wireman, I assume, has it. And okay. There's also, you can pick stuff up at Ham Radio Outlet or where other locations on the internet. Covert antennas, again, ham sticks. Everybody know what a ham stick is? No? I should have brought one. Well, there's one right there. What it is, it's a compromise antenna. Basically, MFJ makes them. A company called Shark makes them. They're essentially a coil with a whip on top. And they come out, they're set up in different bands. I have one in the car that I was going to bring in, but it's like this tall, and I didn't feel like bringing it in. Essentially, you tune it for somewhere in 20 meters, for instance. Then you can either mount it vertically or you can mount it as a dipole. They have mounts for that particular thing. They work okay. Anybody have experience with those? Yeah, and?
Contacts with it. Used one on top of a Wolf River coil just to get a little bit of height behind my FJ. I made dozens and dozens of contacts until I upgraded.
Yeah, they're relatively inexpensive, and they can be put in an attic They could be painted a funky color, you know, that blends in with things, and put them outside. Should probably have some sort of counterpoise with it other than the coax. But
Rick, that you can get two of them in the same band, and then one acts as the counterpoise and one acts as the radio.
you mean that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So is Patrick here tonight? I'll tell Patrick's story. So when Patrick wants to run HF, he backs his car out of the garage. He puts a hamstick on a magnet mount in the center, and then he runs a coax back into his office. And it works great. And when he's done, he takes it off the car, pulls it back in.
Yeah, I suppose you could do the same thing if you had a roof next to your house and you just stick it out the window, and nobody'd be bitching about it.
Randy, by the way, that's the MFJ 347 is the model.
Oh.
And in addition to hamsticks, what it's really got is a 3/8 by 24 thread mount. MFJ also makes telescoping stainless steel whips that you can use to put in those, that they sell in a variety of lengths. I have a pair of them that'll go up to 33 feet for a full-size 20 meter. That's what I use at field day.
Mm-hmm. Did you put a rotor on that, or just hand rotor?
No, just turn the mast by hand.
Okay. So that's another option for you. All right, other covert antennas. The Compact-Tenna, which is a dual band. I have an example there. Well, not that one. Well, yeah, that one too. That's a shorter example of it. That's dual band, UHF, VHF. Actually, it does GMRS too, I noticed. But we won't talk about that tonight. I know some people in here have them. They seem to work fairly well. I mean, that one did work. I just decided to opt for a bigger antenna on my van, or motorhome, I should say. The other one, right there, is also a dual band antenna, but it's also 20 meters. And I can't tell you how well it is, because the only time I've used it is on field day, and propagation was terrible on field day, so I never really made any contacts with it. I put up a ham stick after I used that, and I didn't get anybody on the ham stick either. It was just too much noise for 5 watts. So, at any rate, there's also this ground radios that you can put underneath that antenna or the other one. They have a longer version of that Compact-Tenna that are out there. That particular one, this short one, is just a generic thing I bought off of eBay for, I don't know, 20 bucks, something like that. And of course, there's the one there. So you could technically put that in your attic and mount it. It has that same thread design that the ham sticks have.
Are those expensive or relatively cheap?
That is $100 for that particular unit. And again, I've seen people on YouTube use them, and they seem to work for them. They were making contacts, but you know, could have been conditions that particular day. I think the field day situation was just field day. It was just so bad. One consideration, I keep talking about putting things in the attic. One consideration is that on the attic that they didn't build any kind of reflective material on the roof itself. You know, they'll put that foil-backed siding or pre-siding. What do they call that before you put the siding on?
Sheeting, OSB.
Yeah, like the OSB, but it's shiny essentially, which is going to block your signals. I happen to have that problem at my house. My attic over my garage doesn't have any shielding on it, but I have it on each end of the peaks. There was this shiny crap. And I had a Ring camera out there that wouldn't go, I don't know, from me to Dan and transmit. It wouldn't get through there. So I had cut a big hole. And that part of it, you know, the rest of it was intact in order for it to be able to transmit into the router that was nearby. So that's the one consideration that you might have if you have an attic like that. Here's another idea of a covert antenna, which is a loop. I'm using this as an example. There are other loops out there. This particular one is fairly expensive. It's about $700, something like that. It operates vertically, in which case that it's going to be directional off of the ends, or however you want to call that, off of the plane of the loop. So it needs to be moved. If you're going to put it in an attic, they stand about this big. They're about that big, 36 inches. You'd need to really put it on a rotor in order to get that to work in your attic. And I think it's rated at maybe 100 watts. I have one at home that I picked up at Hamfest, but it fell over. Somebody had it and they fell over and it's bent. And one of these days I'm actually going to bend it back and put it up. Now you can also mount it horizontally. And when it's horizontal, it's pretty much omnidirectional. Now, like I said, there are other loops out there. Will your loop operate horizontally? Brad?
Yeah, it probably would, as long as the coax didn't sag.
Oh, that's right, it is
You might
coax.
have to tie a line to it to keep it straight.
And that is rigid aluminum, and it's pretty heavy. Excuse me. All right, so this is an interesting one. It's a birdhouse, which hopefully you guys can see. Where is it? Oh, there it is, right there. And this is mostly to give you guys ideas if there's something that you think of and, hey, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll do something like that. Yeah.
The birdhouse is just a cover. You pull the cover, the birdhouse off, you put your 17-foot whip on, do your thing, pull the antenna down, put the birdhouse back up. HOA never knows it's there unless they catch it while you're in the act.
So the birdhouse is filled with birds, you take it off and put the antenna in?
Yeah, pretty much. That is the function. That's the function. So it's got a couple of 36-inch copper spikes. On top of one of them goes the matching unit that the antenna goes on. And then it's a shunt-fed vertical. And then you run a radial out 20-ish feet to another spike that it clamps to.
And if you have any further questions, contact TN07 Engineering because
But he wants about $600 for that antenna, give or take.
Yeah, I think we could make one of those at Elmer Night. What do you think? Yeah. All right. All right, covert antennas again. Diamond X50 antenna. And you probably use it. You probably put it in birdhouse on top of it. You know, maybe. I don't know. Just a thought.
3dB.
All right, so
You can paint that, Randy, the X50s.
Pardon me?
You can paint any of the diamond antennas, the fiberglass radome antennas, you can just rough that up a little bit and paint it with a metallic paint and match your house or whatever, nobody will ever see it.
It does.
Okay. So here's a guy, he wrapped it in tree wrap. That X50, by the way. And this is what it ends up being.
I like that.
Now, I would think you'd want to put that on your second floor balcony or something.
Dan, great job on that.
Thank you.
All right, so here's kind of a cool one. I don't know if anybody saw this on YouTube or not, but anybody see this? Oh, besides you. You watch everything. Hell, I went to a movie and he's sitting behind me, harassing me the whole time. I said, "What are you doing here?" "Well, I heard you were coming to the movies." "Oh, gee," I kicked my seat. You know, it was terrible. All right, so this guy has this house, and it's shaped like that. He's in Florida, by the way. And I just took snippets from his video. I couldn't get any of the videos to load onto my PC. I don't have the right software, apparently, anyway. So that's kind of his roof line, the way it's set up. So he had a list of materials here, which in this case was pretty expensive. There's the chameleon balun, basically, that goes in that $600, $500 MPass 2 kit. He's got some of the wire, of course, and then he's got another set of wire for radials and a bunch of clips. And I don't know where he used those. I never saw it, but at any rate, he's got some junk up there. So essentially, this is the garage looking up in his attic above his garage. And so what he's got here, he's got his balun, he's got radials. No, he's got his antenna right there coming off this wire here. He's also got some, I don't know if I included that photo or not. No, I forgot. But anyway, there were radials inside. He brought it out through his vents. He has a roof ridge vent. He brought it out through the vent, started running along the ridge vent at his house. And he kept going using cable ties, every foot or two. And then he got over to this area here and started using these clips that apparently didn't work because the wire's laying down here. That's for Christmas tree lights or something like that. Ran it wherever there was not any roof vent. So he took it up, made the 90-degree turn, and then went down that way. Backing back up for just a second. Can you see the radials? I can't tell. There's 4 radials. Well, that's not it. There's 4 radials laying out here that he attached to the balun for his ground plane or counterpoise. And that's kind of what he got from his antenna. Now, I don't know if that's Whisper or if that's actual QSOs, but looks pretty good. Of course, he is in Florida. Everything's salty. All right, so with any of these antennas that I've been talking about as we go along, and this is by no means everything. I mean, there are tons of other options out there, which is kind of why I showed you those portable antennas and things like that. You should always use an analyzer. This particular one's an MFJ. It was the only picture I found really quick. I should have searched for a better one. I'm not a big fan of MFJ, by the way. Yeah, it all comes down to this. Well, I'll tell you this story quickly. This hex beam that I bought was a piece of garbage. Hex beams have 6 fiberglass poles that stick out, obviously, so it can, look like an upside-down umbrella. And then you take another piece of fiberglass and you put into each one of them. Well, only 2 of them that actually fit. The rest of them were too big. We tried pounding one in, and that was interesting. We actually got it in. We started pounding another one in, and it got stuck. It wouldn't go in anymore, so we basically had to cut it down. That wasn't a good thing. And then we had 2 other ones. We were holding sandpaper and putting it in a drill and just spinning it and sanding it down until it actually fit into the other one. So that plus not providing enough screws, not enough clips, not enough, it was a mess.
Did you get it at IKEA?
Well, it's kind of like IKEA.
How much are you selling it for?
Oh, no, it's up in the air. Sorry. When it breaks, I'll buy something better. I should have spent another $200 and I could have got a better one, or $300. But, I figured $500, that's fine. I mean, it does work. I will admit that it really does work, and they work really very well. But I don't know. That's why I'm not a fan of MFJ. The antenna analyzer that we have for the club is great. It's just don't break it, because it comes out of Ukraine. We probably can't get another one. I wonder if the plant's even still there. So far it's still there?
Yeah, it's still around.
Okay. So Covert antennas, the camo paint does work. I never really checked to see if Krylon had metal in it. So I'm getting the nod that it doesn't back there. So consider this a good piece of advice. Personally, I like OD green. the one in the middle. Light gray works, black works. Kind of depends on your on what you're doing. I know I painted my tower kind of a primer color, and I figured as it flakes off, the other gray underneath is going to kind of look like camo.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm planning ahead. So here, let me give you an example of. There's a 6B TV in the photo. Can you see it? I needed to be further away, and I actually had a better picture, but that's okay. All right. So, and to be honest with you, most of the time I look out there, I can't even see it because the lighting was such that I couldn't. This was taken this morning, so it's kind of a weird background right now. And that's it up close. Great little antenna. Well, it's not little, it's big, but it's been up for 2 years, 3 years, I think, and I haven't had any issues with it at all. Still get good SWRs on it, and I can still get out on it. Here's a couple more of my antennas. You'll see the one on the left. God, these look terrible on here. It's all pretty much silver. It was the first antenna I actually put up. The one over here, which has that thing on top, is painted green. And honestly, when it's the right angle, you can't even really see this thing, as long as it's not silhouetted by the sky. Usually it just blends into the tree. So camo does work. And this guy did either OD green or black, I can't remember. His did pretty well. Neighbors didn't even know he had it back in his stand of trees that he had. Okay, so before I go on, any questions? Yes, John.
Just a quick comment. Anything that's outside that sends electrons out will attract electrons in, so be sure you have a safe grounding system and lightning protection, regardless of where the antenna is.
John, this isn't a grounding class.
Excellent.
However, that's an excellent point.
Smart.
Yes, chapter 14 or 15 or something, I don't know.
Cheaper than grounding.
Insurance is cheaper than grounding.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Price of copper today, for sure.
Yeah. No questions? Comments?
I might add that Scott convinced me to try my rain gutter as a covert antenna.
Ah.
And I got mediocre results out of it. I was kind of surprised. It killed 6 squirrels.
I thought maybe you had plastic gutters.
Plastic gutters.
No, but it actually kind of worked. I was kind of surprised.
I made some DX contacts off of my head. It's about 35-foot horizontal with a 25-foot downspout. You just got to make sure that the downspout's not touching the ground. And I also ran. I just put the shield to a piece of Romex and drug it out at a 90-degree angle to the downspout and the cross piece for a counterpoise about 25 feet of ground counterpoise. But then put the center of the conductor to the screw at the bottom of the downspout, and I talked to around the country and even got a couple of European contacts.
We loaded up Stan's metal roof on his
Yeah,
January.
and I had a photo of that. And I couldn't find it because I thought that was pretty funny. Now, the one thing I didn't talk about, which I meant to put in here, but again, like I said, we were going to meet for lunch at 4:30, and it was 4:15, and I said I better finish this really quick.
In 20 minutes.
Ah, see. And so I forgot to put in about tuners. Of course, with UHF and VHF, it's not as critical, or it's not critical, but, well, yeah. Does this work? There's no stun setting on here, is there? But on HF, yeah, the 7300 that we have, and I think the 991 has a tuner built in. 705 does not, so if you happen to take one, did we buy a tuner for that?
There's a tuner for 705.
Okay. The tuner will match the radio to your antenna, and in case you've got a huge SWR difference, that doesn't mean it's going to broadcast better because you're losing all your power with the reflected signal coming back. But it's something you want to use with all these, unless they happen to come up resonant, where you wouldn't need to use the tuner. But you know, these antennas are all kind of compromised, so you never know what they're going to do for you. So, any other questions, comments, things you didn't like?
I have a comment on tuners.
Yeah.
Especially with unbalanced antennas, which is most of what these things are. The antenna tuners should be outdoors because that's where it balances it out, and the RF coming back into your shack. You know, you don't want that as much from a safety. The ARRL has put together a large amount of studies about the RF and that stuff, and that's one of the things they're looking at is moving those antenna tuners out of your shack so that you're not being exposed to that return RF from your antenna, because the antenna's not tuned. The antenna tuner is tuning it to your rig, so the unbalance is all coming back.
Yeah, and everybody, I think, experienced RFI with, you know, your clocks going to hell and burning. Oh, I haven't burned anything yet, but I use a lot of ferrite beads on my stuff as it comes into the building. In fact, sometimes even out in the box where I've got all my junction points. So AH4 is an outside tuner. MFJ has one. Yaesu has one. I don't know what else is out there. The LDG have one, maybe. I don't know. Do they?
They do.
So, and tuners are either, you know, manual or they are automatic. Manual is, you get a better match in some respects, but I like pushing a button and watching it do it for me. All right, so quickly, Squaw Mountain. That's where our repeater site is. One of those, a couple, three of those antennas are ours up there, or somebody else's, and we're using them. I don't know which. Anybody not been up there? Most people have not been up there. Okay, well, here's a quick rundown. This looks great. I should have put that picture in that I took of my cables, which kind of looks similar, but not quite as on the scale. But pretty bad. Anyway, looks a little bit better from out here. There's the building, and it looks really nice because everybody painted it last year. A bunch of guys went up and painted and cleaned it up. Did you guys pound the siding back into the building? Get rid of the animals?
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, cool. All right, inside, you've got our repeaters are inside that case there, which closes up. I don't have a picture. I didn't put a picture in here of it enclosed, but everything else back there behind it is, except for those cavities that are on the floor to the right, are other people's, you know, other users, and that's only part of it. There's a lot more radios in there. You kind of got to watch when you walk through there. You don't accidentally snag something and take somebody off the air. There is that other club up there. They've got a really nice case too that's set up. So, and there's some of the guys that went up there. Hard to believe that. Ray's gone, Mr. Atari.
He's not gone.
Well, he's dead in mine.
He
might
love you, Ray.
He might want that GMRS radio back or something down there.
Well, you have to look at Ray is now our DX member.
That's right.
That's how.
DX committee chairman, member.
ZL1
KG.
KG, right? Yeah. And if you're watching, Ray, hey.
Hey, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
All right, and that's kind of it.
All right. So any questions for Randy? You know, Randy, hats off to you. It's just a great presentation overall, and you know, this is just a great example of what our members do month in and month out, not only at our monthly meetings, but also at our Elmering night as well. There's some of our Elmer nights also have presentations, others very hands-on, but there's always a solid amount of Q&A. We don't have to go over business at the Elmer night. So again, Randy, thank you for just a job very, very well done. Hopefully this mic's picking me up. Yeah, Dirk's giving me the, you're loud enough and you talk enough. So,
One more thing to add, I hate doing presentations.
well, for somebody who hates doing presentations, did a hell of a job. Good job, Randy. So if you're interested or you have a topic within amateur radio that you're absolutely passionate about, please reach out to us. We want to get you scheduled. We want to get you on the calendar and give you an opportunity as well to share your time, talent, and treasures with amateur radio. So Paul, final comments.
And if you need help with an antenna, either with the design or we'll come out and help you put it up, just make sure you get a hold of us and we get it scheduled before about maybe November the 15th.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get help from the Elmer Committee in December and January.
When the snow's flying.
When the snow's flying. But get your antennas up now while the weather's nice. And if you need help, please don't hesitate to ask.
And the Elmer Committee doesn't like the cold either, from what I hear. So, yeah. So get that scheduled before November. Any final questions, comments before we adjourn? Yes, sir.
Yeah, what about J-poles? I have one for GMRS I haven't set up yet. But what for UHF and VHF, and do they have an application for HF?
HF, not so much. Yeah. Just-
Only if you're flying a Zephyr. Too big.
Yeah.
I have seen some 6-meter J-poles, and maybe a 10-meter, but not a whole,
Yeah.
not much.
Yeah,
after that.
that's probably the 50 megahertz, 28 megahertz may cover. They're much larger than what you would see, yeah, with a VHF or UHF. Any other questions? All right, well, thanks for a great meeting. Love seeing all the new faces here. We hope you come back again. I hope we proved ourselves this time. So I'd love to have you back again. We'll see you at Elmer Night next Tuesday. So have a great week. Thanks, everyone.